Oh, all right, let's get it. Let's get it. We got to change. Oh, shit. Let's see if fam go get up out this jam.
Turned around. That was right when we had heard that this had become a pursuit. So kind of hanging out in this area. We first heard about LAPD wanting to pull this over, though, over on the west side, over off of the 10 and Lincoln. That was when they were still following and trying to get all of these officers, you know, in their black and whites ready to pull this over, get the helicopter overhead as well, which obviously they have. You see that spotlight there as they get ready to go underneath us here onto Olympic Boulevard. And there you can see the sharp turn by LAPD's airship there to stay in pursuit of this one. So bear with us here as we just spin the camera around a little bit as we are on Olympic, but kind of hanging out in this area. So, you know, is this where the suspect lives, or is this where
Let's
they
see if
want
he
it
go
to
get
be
away,
without
Chad. What y'all
crime?
think?
You know, so we'll see. This is obviously, after all the details that Mike was giving you, definitely not one of the run-of-the-mill pursuits. It sounds like it's a lot more than just property crime going on.
Yeah.
If they believe that this person is armed and dangerous, that's a whole other factor. And so, knowing all that, this does not seem like one of those ones where LAPD will give up. They're probably going to try to take this one as far as they can, however this concludes.
What's interesting, I'm noticing here that the cruiser behind this car that's being pursued also has a spotlight of its own. I'm guessing it's to maybe look inside the car. Mike or Des, what do you say?
I think it might be to try to alert, maybe alert other people of the guy coming through the area. Sometimes we'll see him, you know, shine a flashlight. We're also dealing with a black vehicle. I mean, they do. A lot of times we see that when it's a black vehicle when they have their lights off, and they may need to do that just to keep, you know, visual of the vehicle, or to warn other people that something is coming towards them. It may have even been a coordination with. You saw that the airship was in a really tight turn there, so maybe they were doing that to kind of help assist the helicopter as well, so that they could show them, you know, where the vehicle is going. This is a pretty common car. I believe this is a Honda Civic. We had heard black Honda was what they were following earlier. And so back
Let's see
now
what's
on
gonna
Washington
happen.
Boulevard. We're getting up to, we're past 10:30 now. Still, you know, a decent
They doing too
amount of
much
people
moving,
out
and
here
they got
tonight.
the
It's
chop
definitely
on
not
them.
dead down in this
They
area.
got
We're
to
pretty
pull up
close
somewhere
to
where it's a bunch of people,
downtown
the
Los
casino,
Angeles.
some
So
shit like that.
a moderate amount of danger to the public right now. We have seen speeds up to 75 miles an hour as we get up to over 60 now on these surface streets, but just kind of looping around the area. So maybe trying to formulate a plan or something, or you know, where they want to get out of the vehicle, we'll see. But LAPD obviously
They
all
got
over
to
this
jump out
one,
and run where the chopper
ready,
can't
however this is going to end.
see
Yeah, as
him.
Desmond was talking about, dangerous
They
because of the high
gotta have a
speed
car
on the
waiting on them
surface
or
streets
some
right
shit.
now. A danger to the public, obviously, for anyone who might be
I'll fuck
walking
around
or
and have
driving
somebody in the
outside
parking
and not
garage
see this
waiting
car
on
coming
me.
their way at
Jump
close speeds
bail
like
and
this. You know, these
go
narrow
jump
streets
in
that
the
we
car
see,
with
these
them.
dark streets, and you wonder, you know, my gosh, are they, you know, going to stop for that stop sign? They just keep going, and it gets really scary, especially for neighbors out there who maybe, you know, do not know, again, that this is coming through. But this is a tough situation for the LAPD, as we're all talking about, because of the fact that these suspects are armed and dangerous. And as Desmond was saying, this is another level of danger when we're talking about armed and dangerous, because police cannot do the things that they would maybe normally do to stop this car during another pursuit that we're not talking about armed individuals, right, Mike?
Yeah, right. I mean, this is, you know, I just heard them request additional units, even to add to all of the units that they already have there, which again just kind of goes to show. Sorry, I was listening to some radio traffic here, but goes to show that they're really taking this seriously. And again, they're repeating right now, armed and dangerous. And so, you know, the airship has a couple of things they want to try. They're waiting to get some approvals for those. So we'll watch and see if those happen. But, you know, not something that they're probably going to give up. I can't imagine that they'll give up you know, a wanted felony suspect that they believe is armed and dangerous.
Right.
So, you know, but we are getting into these kind of surface streets where we're starting to circle a little bit. I'm monitoring some of the air traffic here with SkyCal and the LAPD ship, and we've kind of been up and down this area Pico Union into close to downtown. So we'll see, if they're able to get something to maybe stop this guy.
Yeah, would be a great opportunity to use spike strips, right? Because it seems like he's following some sort of pattern. Even Desmond Shaw up in SkyCal was telling us, and we see it here live, just turn after continual turn, and basically just staying in the Pico Union area. And it looks like this is an area that has some homes and a lot of apartment buildings as well. And luckily, I don't know if it has anything to do with maybe cooler temperatures at night, but we're not seeing a lot of foot traffic right now, which is a good thing right now with this car blasting through residential streets at anywhere from 30 to 50 miles an hour, which of course is very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where they're probably not going to go for the pit maneuver, obviously, because of the fact that these suspects are armed and dangerous, as we've been saying throughout this pursuit. You can imagine, kind of the techniques that they're thinking about, deploying right now, and definitely not a pit maneuver because of that reason, because they are armed, and you can only imagine what could happen, should the officers get any closer to this car. So again, a big danger to not only the officers who are in pursuit, but also the neighborhood that this suspect is driving through. And we've been talking about how it's been pretty much the same area for about a good, I would say, half an hour now. We were back in the USC area, and then they turned and came back around through the Pico Union area. And that's where we've been this entire time. But, it always makes you wonder, Juan, do they know the area? Are they familiar with the area? Do they live in this area? Do they have a friend who lives in this area? Maybe they're hoping to, ditch the car and run into their house, and who knows?
Or like we saw not too long ago where a pursuit ended in a very crowded area, and the suspects all scattered. And there were so many people just standing around. It was hard to figure out who was who. Eventually they did catch these guys, but look at this, the pursuit kind of coming into this area here where there were a lot of apartment buildings, but no, there's the car right there. Desmond is right on it. And it looked just a little while ago, look, LA Live Way right there on the map tracker. Are they near LA Live, Desmond? Is that the convention center? What are we looking at?
Yeah, we are right by there right now, widen out to show you. So we are right next to the convention center right now, which is, long since closed, fortunately, so not going to see too many people out in this area. So but now just kind of crisscrossing around the 10 freeway, right around the 10 and the 110 as well, Pico Union. So starting to kind of branch out a little bit. We'll see what the strategy is here. We are on the verge of downtown Los Angeles, which can make things pretty difficult for helicopters to follow all of this. And I noticed, LAPD, they're kind of hanging back a little bit as well. And when we made that northbound turn back underneath the 110, it almost looked like for a moment they could have almost lost this vehicle. So
we have
heard many pursuits before where
you want to go
visual.
where that chopper can't see you.
As well.
You want a shot at getting away. That's the only thing you really worry about is that motherfucking chopper.
Between them.
Motherfuckers on the ground, you can get past them. That chopper,
an advantage. Sometimes all these
that
guys
chopper hard to shake.
I don't know that it's a guy for sure, but all they need is 10 or 15 seconds to get out and run into a parking structure or something, and that can really complicate things for these officers. So we'll see. But here, as I widen out, you can see they're still back a couple 100 feet on this one.
Man, I'll floor that bitch and go to
right
the nearest
the center turn
building,
lane there,
heavily populated
this is the
building.
Third or fourth time we've been on Washington Boulevard. So Pico Union, edge of downtown Los Angeles, over by LA Live. That's where we've been pretty much the whole time on this one.
All right, if you're just joining us here on KCAL News at 10, this is breaking news. A police pursuit happening right now, circling the downtown LA area and the Pico Union area for about 30 minutes. We're talking about a stolen car, a black Honda sedan. The suspect, a code 6 Charlie suspect, meaning that someone who has a felony want on them. And we believe there are multiple suspects in this car. And it looks like it's coming to an end. One person, two people.
And the car keeps going.
So there's a third, okay.
Yep. So we know there was at least 3 people in the car there. 2 people just got out. One of them got out awfully casually there. But you can see there are a couple of units that are stopping to apprehend those people, and it looks like one of them may be running through an apartment. You see LAPD with their spotlight watching that one. But of course, we're going to stick with the driver here as we're out on Hoover. So at least 3 people in that vehicle, and we would all love to know their connection with this wanted suspect. driving this black Honda that came back, a wanted felony
let them
suspect in
boys out.
addition
They probably
to
done got caught. They
stolen
been all
vehicle.
staying in the car.
Alvarado and Pico right now as we continue now kind of on the edge of the MacArthur Park area. So we'll see where this one takes us right here as we are northbound on Alvarado, now going away from the 10 towards the 101 freeway.
Mike Rogers, you've been listening to some
They
police
lost
chatter while we watched this unfold just seconds ago. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so I can tell you that they this is one of the reasons why they
did.
wanted those additional units, right? So in case something like this happens. So there are units continuing to chase the car, but there are units back where they dumped those 2 people, and they are trying to take those 2 into custody right now. The airship, here's the video from when those 2 suspects got out. There was a woman and a man who got out. The woman got out on the right there. The man got out on the left and ran down the alley. So they've got officers trying to get both of those suspects into custody. They're setting up a perimeter there. The airship, the LAPD helicopter, you'll notice in Desmond's shot, got dark for a second because the LAPD helicopter very briefly stayed with the 2 suspects that got out. Just to kind of get officers like, okay, this one went down the alley, this one's on the sidewalk. He coordinated that very quickly, and now they're back over the pursuit with Des. So this is one of those examples of why we had so many officers with this, just for this reason, because, Desmond points this out all the time, but it's almost like the pursuit package where these suspects have super dark windows that you can't see into. So LAPD is very hard for them to know how many officers are, or how many suspects rather, are in the car, and this is the reason we now know is at least 3 people.
And most likely these 2 might have asked the driver to stop and let us out because things are getting a little
heated,
more serious and heated. And it looks like now that we know maybe there's just one person, at least we're seeing the car behind the police officer's car seems to be following a little closer. So I don't know if that has anything to do with knowing there's one person in the car, but a great job too by law enforcement up in their helicopter, keeping their focus and their night sun right there on that car. As you were mentioning, Mike, it's a black car. Desmond was saying it's a black car, maybe hard to see on darker surface streets, and they are keeping it well illuminated. And look at this, Susie. It looks like we're picking up a little speed right here, right?
Yeah, going down a very narrow street with one
Think
car
he finna
stopped,
get
as
away
you just
from
saw, as it
12,
just
boy.
flew
You ain't
by
shaking
that
nobody
car.
in that
And,
bitch.
you know,
And you got
going
the
almost
chop on
60
you.
miles an hour down this narrow street. It
Telling
just
you, the
scares
only
me
way
so
they
much
getting out
because it's
that
dark
jam
out
was if
there.
they'd have pulled
You
up
know,
at
there
like
could
a
be people
casino
out
or
there.
like
We
a
haven't
mall
seen
or
any
something.
people. I mean, at this hour, thank goodness, it's
They'd
another
have to
hour.
just
But
pull up,
you know,
jump
the
out, run up in
possibilities
that
are always
bitch.
there, and the police obviously they're not going to take any chances. And you were talking about, Juan, how you've been noticing that maybe the police are following a little closer now. With perhaps one person. We don't know for certain if it's just one person, but we believe there's just one more person, the driver, inside this car right now. But, the fact that these people, we don't know who was armed. We don't know if the 2 people who took off from the video that we showed you earlier just a moment ago.
Suspects?
Were they the armed suspects, or is the driver the armed suspect? Are they all armed? So, again, I want to show you that video that we were just talking about. 2 of the suspects, a woman and a man, jumping out of that car, and a 3rd suspect driving on as police are in chase right now on the left side of your screen. But again, all the possibilities, you don't know how dangerous this could end up being.
And when they came out of the car, you clearly saw their sneakers. You could see
chick to the
exactly where they
left
were
probably
going.
got
As Mike
away,
was
though,
saying, I
'cause
think
the
the
chopper
woman
didn't
went
get
towards
on
the
her.
right, the man to the left, and there were some cruisers that did
Hopefully
stop
went to
there
the
because they
left,
were being
probably got
followed by
away.
quite a bit of law enforcement to get those 2 into custody. And my guess is once those 2 are into custody, they start talking to police, and they may give up their friend, the driver behind the wheel here.
Right, and I did just hear some traffic.
don't
If you
work
have
like that.
one of those people in custody, they are still looking for the other person. But we talk about passengers getting out of these pursuit vehicles. There have been
you
times
jump out the
that
car and
we
you
followed
try
up
to
on these,
run,
and
you
as
know you
long as those
going down.
passengers don't
We're
have
running
any
off
active
GP,
warrants,
so
things
what
like
I'ma
that,
tell
if
the
they
driver
stay and
for-
cooperate with police, 9 times out of 10 they're released. They're not the driver.
Not even driving that car.
Unless they're, I mean, they're not the ones that are evading law enforcement. So unless they're
gotta
wanted in
ride.
connection with whatever crime happened,
Oh,
if they're just
Jaguar.
passengers to this and they, said, let me out, and they sit there and wait for the cops, sometimes they can let them go. And I am listening to, they just broke down the perimeter. Primary suspect is not in custody. So the person they're looking for is not in custody still, which leads us to believe that it is the driver, right? So, but they do have one person in custody from where they bailed on foot. and then they broke down that perimeter. They're going to reassign those officers back to the pursuit. The primary person that they're looking for not in custody.
Do we know if it was
I
the
said
woman or
that
the man that we
motherfucker didn't
saw
look like
bail
they
out?
was gonna catch him.
They just said that they had one in
They don't
custody
say,
and one
okay.
was outstanding.
Yeah, the one on the
All
left
right,
got
so this
away.
area
I
near
knew
Pico
it.
Union, of course, still going to be very busy with police investigators. This car, obviously,
Remember
they
the one
need
on the
this
left
driver to
got
stop
away 'cause
to get this person into
they
custody.
put all
and
the attention
one
to
other
that
person
other
outstanding
motherfucker.
as well. So this area is going to be seeing a lot of police activity over the
helicopter went
next
to
at
the
least
other
hour or
motherfucker,
so,
too.
depending on when this
He
pursuit
was
comes
in
to
the
an end.
direction
And
of the
where
car
it
was
comes to
going.
an end and how it comes to an
They
end.
both
Mike
should've
was
bust out
talking
to the
earlier
left,
about
well, nah, that
various
probably wouldn't
resources
work
being called
then.
in. Mike, you were talking about maybe some specialized
Like
teams to
somebody
maybe
had
get
to get
ahead of
caught.
this.
Yeah, that's
maybe
crazy.
when this pursuit actually comes to a stop.
Yeah, and I don't ever like to give away tactical information
Sure.
from officers. I can tell you what they were asking for is not necessarily something that would help them end this pursuit.
going that fast.
Sounds like something maybe that would potentially be needed if something else were to happen after. So, the airship was talking about some spike strips in some areas back when we were a little bit further south in the Pico Union area. It doesn't look like that ever materialized. And it's hard because, yes, the person is staying in generally the same area, but I mean, I'm looking at the tail from the police helicopter, and it is just circles and circles and circles kind of in that same area. So it's not something that I don't think they could really okay, he's going straight, let's put the spike strip here, because it just is, he's kind of all over the place, and I don't think that's super easy to coordinate, although they are trying. Luckily,
we haven't seen any crashes or side swipes, but we have seen several red lights being run as this driver tries to evade police. But again, staying mostly in the same area. They're going
If he don't
underneath,
come up
I
out
guess
of
that's
there, he's
the
smart.
110 freeway there,
Y'all
right?
now to win in that motherfucking
There's
cut
James
over in
Woods,
there.
Boulevard,
Ran
the
in them
exit
bushes.
right there. And there's
got
the
out
car
right there.
Desmond's right on it right
Hit it.
there. Desmond, what can you tell us? What can you see from your vantage point?
But he don't know that the
Yeah,
helicopter
just lots
can't really
of
see
circling
right there.
around, going underneath us, lots of right turns, left turns, zigzagging
He
all
in
over the
the right
place. We're
place,
getting
he
into downtown.
downtown.
Try to get a little bit closer to this one now. Back over across Figueroa. So Figueroa.
That's where they shot
9th,
off at.
as we're crossing that intersection, so we're going to have a lot of tall buildings to contend with as well here. We'll do our best, but this is when things, get difficult for the helicopter for LAPD as well. And, they've got to be up higher, which means that we've got to be up even higher
RP, my boy,
than them.
Flipper,
So
man.
bear with us here as we try to bring you a better shot of the pursuit as it goes into downtown LA, but we know what's happened with a lot of pursuits that go into downtown. That's why I hope that these units will stick pretty close by with this suspect, because it might get into a situation where the helicopter is not going to be able to keep eyes on this. There's tons of not just tall buildings, but parking structures and the tunnels. The 3rd Street tunnel is one of them that comes to mind. And now, as I have a wide shot, we are okay, east side of the convention center. I'm hearing.
Two of them done got away.
Just 1 second here as I try to reestablish this. Juan and Susie, let me toss it back to you.
Yeah, go ahead. What a great vantage point. Desmond's showing us right there.
Yes.
Crypto.com Arena, the convention center. We know exactly where this is happening. We saw the Ritz-Carlton, and the driver
Los
basically make his way through these canyons of buildings. Very difficult.
It's true, and with spike strips, you got to know which way the suspect is traveling, and this has been a very difficult situation. All right, be sure to join us on CBS News at 11. For now, we're going to go get some weather from meteorologist Markina Brown as we keep Desmond Shaw live overhead. Looks like we do have it again. Will we be taking Desmond?
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, we'll get the forecast
Desmond.
in a sec, but yeah, Desmond, go take it away.
Yeah, wanted Susie. Sorry about that. We reacquired that, and you can see just how difficult it could be in downtown Los Angeles here. My pilot's dealing with a lot up here, not just with the buildings, but a lot of the air traffic as well. But now back out of downtown LA and down by Valencia and Venice. So there again, you see Pico Union, which 9 out of the 10 streets that this person's been on. This has been the area where they've been hanging around. This started over off the 10 in Lincoln. So actually, pretty much on the border of Santa Monica where this all began. I just saw that unit right there, wondering if that might have been a spike strip opportunity or something like that. Oh, there was one right there. Okay, they just tried it. We'll listen to the radio traffic and see if that was a good spike.
That's over with
like
now.
It might have been off by just a little bit, and let's see how this suspect reacts to that. to that spike strip attempt. So, Mike was talking about that earlier, and so there it was. There was that attempt,
Oh,
and now
stopping the car.
and out. Okay, out of the vehicle. So there was another person
Another
in the car.
one.
So 4 people, as far as we
And
know.
it looks like they're out there with their hands drawn, so at least 4 people in this car. So now is the car empty? These can hold up to 5. We'll see if this was jam-packed with people or what, but now we know there was at least 4 in the car. That other person looked like they got out, and it looked like they were surrendering. They didn't want any more to do with this. Now that, spike strips may be coming into play, LAPD definitely getting more serious with this one. Back out
They
onto
was deep as
Alvarado
hell in
Street,
that car.
the many familiar streets that we've been back on. But, this person, whatever they're trying to do, definitely gave LAPD the opportunity to use a spike strip. Unclear if it was successful or not.
And Des, I'm actually just was listening to the radio. The spike strip was unsuccessful, unfortunately. You see on the right side of your screen where they attempted it, but it looks like the driver was able to go around them and miss them. So, they're going to hopefully try again here, but we're still in the same neighborhood that we've been for the majority of the
These
time.
motherfuckers probably like, man, let me out, man. They trying to spike, they throwing spike
how
strips.
difficult it is to deploy them. You might think that it's just so easy, going through these narrow streets
And
and
they
all
deep
these
as hell
different
in that
intersections
ride.
that, the police can just lay them down and, they'll go right over them. But it's a difficult process. They got to know which way the suspect is traveling. They got to deploy a unit far ahead enough to get that spike strip out and in an area where the suspect can't veer around it. So many factors obviously come into play, and the LAPD, of course, they're going to take every different, they're going to consider all the different, they're going to weigh all the options, if you will, in terms of public safety and their officers' safety before doing something like that. But too bad that first spike strip didn't work.
You gotta
And at
bend
least
them
they are
corners when
considering
you trying to
spike
get
strips now.
away,
We do
though.
know that. We were
You gotta
wondering
hit
since
corners,
this
man.
driver
Buddy
was
ain't
staying
hitting
pretty much in the
corners.
same area. There's that
You gotta hit
third
that corner
suspect or
hard,
third
too.
passenger jumping out of the car,
That's when
and
you
as
find
Desmond was
out
saying,
if
and
they
Mike
can
was
drive
telling
or
us,
not.
apparently his hands went up and quickly
Bend
surrendered.
them.
But the driver, who apparently is the main suspect, right?
Ain't
The
trying to
police
get away.
want to get into custody. This Code 6 Charles felony want suspect is still behind the wheel and still leading police
that
on a
chopper on
pursuit
you, gotta
that
pull up
basically is
somewhere
just
heavy
concentrated in
populated or
one area.
somewhere
It
that
doesn't
got
even
a
seem like he's
motherfucker
trying to get away.
garage.
He just doesn't want to stop.
It's true, and as we're
Big
talking
ass
about
garage
now,
you
3
can go
people
into.
getting out of this car. So as far as we know, there were 4 people inside this car at one point. There could be more, Juan. We
Yeah.
don't know at this point because we've been surprised by the last couple
Man,
of
they
them
deep
coming
as
out of the
hell
car.
in this car.
Again, there were 4 people inside this car as far as we know, and they are considered armed and dangerous. But the primary suspect that, as Juan was talking about, that police are looking for has not been arrested as far as we know. Mike Rogers was talking about that. Is that still the situation?
Yeah, I have not heard that change at all. I have not heard them mention any of that. Now we're back into downtown. The airship, has already told these officers, you guys got to get right up on him because when he comes back into these buildings, I'm not going to be able to follow him. You can see, it's hard for Desmond as well. So, I think, we talked about the aggressiveness of the ground unit there, the one that was right behind him. That seems, now they've actually switched out. We had a Crown Victoria slick top there. Now we've got, a traditional Ford Explorer behind him now. So, the airship not unaware that they're going to have issues with these buildings downtown, and they've asked those units to be close by.
All right, well, we're going to continue to follow this pursuit and keep Desmond Shaw and SkyCal overhead as looks like we're going through downtown right now, and it could be, situation with the tall buildings there. But we want to welcome our viewers to KCAL News at 11 now. Alongside Juan Fernandez, I'm Susie Saad, Mike Rogers at the desk, and Desmond Shaw in SkyCal. And we're going to keep it here and follow this just as long as we can. It's been difficult because of the downtown LA situation, but obviously police want to get to this person, get them away from the public, obviously, because they are posing a danger. Again, armed and dangerous.
If you're watching this right now and want to continue following this along with us, turn to Channel 2 right now. KCAL News at 11. We'll begin there in just a moment as we continue following this pursuit. Thanks so much for watching.
All right, thanks for joining us for KCAL News at 11. This is breaking news. Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Saw, alongside Mike Rogers at the desk and Desmond Shaw live overhead in SkyCal following this pursuit through downtown LA. We've been following this for a good 40 minutes now, and the suspect has been pretty much staying in the same area around USC. They turned around and went back to the Pico Union area, was in the downtown LA area near the convention center, and went into all those areas with all those tall buildings, and lost it for just a moment. But we picked it up once again as they're just dancing on the outskirts of downtown.
And he got the
LA
helicopter
here.
on him.
But again, this person is considered armed and dangerous. There were 4 people inside this car at one point. Let's get upstairs to Desmond Shaw in Sky
It's
Cal.
deep as hell in this car.
We are on 8th Street here in the Westlake area. Westlake, Pico Union, and the east edge of downtown LA has been where this suspect has been pretty much the entire time since this went into pursuit mode. LAPD was first getting everything lined up to try to pull over this wanted suspect back in near Santa Monica off of the 10 at Lincoln is where we had first heard about LAPD chattering about getting all the cruisers lined up to try to pull this person over. It didn't turn into a pursuit until we got near downtown LA around the 10 and the 110 is where we had first heard this. So we've seen 3 people now get out of the vehicle. The last person we saw looked like they were giving up immediately, but at least one of the other 2 suspects was out there running around and didn't want to surrender. We know that they had found at least one of those, so at least 2 of the 3, possibly all 3 of those people now in custody with police. But it's unknown if there is still one more person in this vehicle other than the driver, or if it's just the driver solo now. At this point, we saw a spike strip attempt. Unfortunately, was not successful. That looked like that was going to be another one right there. It was actually, but I don't think they were able to get the spike
moving
deployed
slow
at that point
as
either.
hell.
Susie, you were talking about it earlier. It is a very precise operation. They have to time it just perfectly. They're not going to keep the spike laying out there for the suspect to see plain as day and then swerve around it. They have to. It's almost kind of like a fishing line that they yank it off of the sidewalk and into the street, and they have to time it perfectly to go over the suspect's tires. We've now seen 2 attempts that look like they were unsuccessful, and so this pursuit continues now in the Pico Union.
Yeah, he
area.
probably
And you
got
know, it looks like he's
I gotta go
anticipating
take a
those spike
shit.
strips, because look at him
Gotta go
here.
take a dub.
He's basically riding that center divider line.
That's
He's
why
not
I
hugging
ran.
either the right or left side there of the streets, running another red light. So 2 spike strip attempts. Our Mike Rogers on the assignment desk. He's been following this since it first started. Mike, what can you add? What can you tell
This
us?
plane, he just playing.
Yeah, so I'm just catching up on some radio traffic here. You know, they do have 2 of the people that got out of the car in custody, which we believe one from that first time, the 2 people bailed, and then that other person that bailed. Now, something has happened, and I'm trying to.
You're listening right now, so would you like to listen, and we'll keep.
Okay, so for whatever reason, they've got information that they believe there may be 3 more people in the vehicle. So because of that, they have authorized more units. So now, all pursuits
get
have
the
to have
fuck
an
outta
authorized number of
here.
units. There's a watch commander that's making the decision. How many units can we have in this pursuit? What is appropriate for this? They have authorized 9 units to be in this pursuit, which, Des, you and I have covered a lot of pursuits. 9 units being authorized in a pursuit is a lot. I can tell you a typical pursuit is 2 units and a supervisor. And so to have 9 units authorized in this pursuit, and they even authorized additional units to trail but not engage in the pursuit, plus we've got detectives that potentially were involved in the beginning of this also following. So there are a lot of units involved in this whole deal.
I'm more surprised as Desmond was. We heard his reaction that 7 people were at one point in this Honda Civic. It's hard to believe. We've
It's a
already
small
seen,
car.
right? 3 people bail out, and Mike's telling us maybe 3 others in there.
It's just incredible. And Mike, this actually, the original want that we were talking about was a stolen car.
Right.
But it got more serious.
It did, yeah. It got more serious, and I want to clarify that the three additional people in the car, that's information that they've not verified themselves yet, but that's information they've gotten, I believe, from one of the people that they were able to detain during that. So, we'll see if that holds true, but that's what they're preparing for right now. And yeah, Susan, to answer your question, originally this did come out as a Code 37 vehicle. It's what they call it, as a stolen vehicle. And then during that, I told you those specialized units, that 5 King unit, kind of got involved in this. And then that's when it turned into what they call a Code 6 Charles suspect, which is somebody wanted for some type of felony.
And we
If they
believe
was
that
that
this
deep,
possibly is the
they
driver.
should have bailed when
We
12
believe-
first
yeah,
got on them.
They said the primary suspect. The driver's the only one so far, besides maybe potentially the other 2 or 3 that haven't gotten out of the car yet. So, but they do know that they are looking for somebody specific, and they're calling that person their primary suspect.
This is a very interesting situation, again, because of the fact, Juan, that, we're seeing so many police officers chase this car right now. Obviously, they want to get this person off the streets as soon as possible. If they are armed and dangerous, obviously another level of danger to the public and to their officers. Barely missing a car making that left turn there on the wrong side of the road as the police are right behind this person.
And Susie, really quick, a spike strip was just successful.
All right.
So they did have a successful spike.
So third attempt, successful.
And it does look like, Des, it looks like we're starting to slow down a bit, right?
Yeah, we can
it
see
does appear
that.
so, and let's hope that the suspect realizes that the writing is on the wall with this one, especially once they lose their tires. How much farther are they going to push it? Some suspects, as soon as it happens, they're like, all right, the jig is up, and that's it. Other suspects say no way. They go until the rubber falls off, until the wheel falls off, until the brake caliper falls off. So there's just no way of knowing. But definitely, a big point there for LAPD to have a successful spike strip on this one.
That shit
as
was
we
successful.
are
Why we don't
still
see
in
no
the
sparks?
Pico Union area,
Oh, damn,
and
it
starting to
was.
see some of the smoke come out. So I
Never
think that
bad.
spike was
There
really
goes the
successful.
smoke.
Maybe even starting to lose. Looks like they're fishtailing, maybe even losing a little bit of control on this. This is a
we can see
front-wheel
that.
drive car, and if it's one of the front tires that they just lost, this person looks like they're really struggling to keep it together now. Let's see how much farther this vehicle could go. We'll see if we can see what tire it was that they lost here. Looks like it might actually be that rear, the rear driver's side here, and really having some trouble now with this vehicle.
There's another spike strip.
Look, there was another spike. Another one. I couldn't tell if that one was successful or not.
No, I don't think he went
No,
over.
I didn't get them.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
it
don't
was
think
just
he went
off
over
by
it.
a couple of feet. So 4 attempts, 1 successful, but really
He
successful
fishtailed him,
because
but he got it.
the spike strips are designed to deflate the tires
gotta
slowly,
hop out
but
and
it
get
seems like
busy.
it happened awfully quickly with this vehicle.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
It's very clear here that they lost the right left tire. And all over the place now. Fishtailing,
That was a
not able to
fishtail,
keep it on the
yeah.
right side of the road. So hopefully they don't try to push these speeds while they're losing control of the vehicle. This is it. It's you've evaded police long enough. You got a bunch of your buddies out of the car, but this one should be ending here pretty quickly at this rate.
Yeah, we saw another police cruiser there just to the left of the car after the driver made the turn. Yeah, you can see how the car keeps kind of, just kind of weaving left and right and left and right. I don't know if, again, they're anticipating more spike strips or indeed they're having trouble controlling the car, but it shouldn't be long before this pursuit comes to
why
an
you
end.
gotta
And
bend them
interestingly
corners.
enough, always stayed on surface streets, Susie. Never went onto freeways,
never went
very
on the
close to
freeway.
freeways.
Not saying
We saw the
run
driver
from the
go under the
police,
10. We saw the
shit.
driver go under the 110 as well, but still sticking to this Pico Union area. This
Trying to
is
get away,
South Alvarado
man.
Street at West
This
11th
definitely
Street,
ain't what to do.
again in Pico Union. All on surface streets
That
right
was
here with
the
that
first
night sun
person
above.
when he let
No
them
way
two
that,
out.
people
When he
around
let them
this
two
driver, the driver
out,
himself,
the person
doesn't
that went
realize
left,
that, there's
they
nowhere
got
to go.
lucky
They're
and they
right
was
behind
smart
him
than a
here.
motherfucker.
Here we go, making another turn.
'Cause I'm willing to bet your
as he's been
bottom
doing all
dollar.
night.
Yeah,
That's who got away.
Sorry, I was just going to let you know, they did just say that the only driver tire is left. So they've been able to successfully blow out the other 3.
Wow.
And it sounds like he's only got 1 tire left, which, Des was talking about the fishtailing, a little bit of a remarkable amount of control for, kind of only having 1 tire. The other piece of information that I'm getting right now is they are focused on the driver. So, they're kind of coordinating for this to end right now, and the units right immediately behind said, we're going to stay with the driver. So it does sound like the driver is the one that they're interested in.
Well, if we're talking about 3 tires out, we're talking about a spike strip that was really successful with 4 attempts and 1 successful one. We believe if 3 tires are blown out, as Desmond was talking about, this is not usually, if 1 is out,
better not try to
usually
turn
it's a
no
slow
corner.
situation before we
Right.
see
Look
the
at that.
impact actually happening.
It's over
We could
for
see
him.
almost right away
He gonna turn
the
that
impact
corner and
that
kiss
those
a pole.
tires were having. Usually it's like air coming out of a straw. When they
Right.
hit one of those little quills on the spike strips. But looks like they're, posing a new danger now to the public driving like this.
Mike, do we know whether or not after the spike strip starts to deflate the tires, are they still rolling on flat tires, or does eventually the tire fall off and they're on rims?
Yeah,
that would make it even harder to turn,
right? Yeah, it depends on how long these guys want to push the car. It depends on the type of car. This is a Honda, so I'm not entirely familiar with this type of car, but a lot of cars have what are called run flat tires.
Right.
That makes spike strips really hard. I don't think that's the case here because we've seen the swerving, we've seen the fishtailing, so it doesn't look to me like that's the situation. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. If they keep driving on this, eventually the rubber gives way, and then it goes down to the rims. Eventually the rims give way, and we go down to the brake calipers, like Des mentioned. So it's up to the driver. It's up to them how far they want to push this. But we always ask the question, and we never can get in the mind of these guys. But how do you think this is going to go? Do you think you're going to be able to get away from a helicopter? At least 9 patrol units that are involved behind you. Who knows? Maybe grasping to that last moment of freedom.
G6.
I wonder if they're on the phone with him too, because if they caught those 3 other guys, maybe they gave them a phone number, right, Susie? And maybe they're talking. I don't know,
okay.
Just trying to think of all the possibilities,
sure,
right?
Absolutely. They came up with their hands up. They're surrendering to police, and if they're giving information,
Yeah, I give his
that
phone.
could
Man, I
be a
wish
phone
motherfucker
number, that
would.
could be,
Man, don't ever
connected to
talk
this
to me in
person
life
driving the
again.
car, maybe put
You can
someone
get to him
who
right
knows this
now.
person on the phone and saying, hey, it's time to give up. Cut your losses right now because, with 3 blown tires, again, this is not going to last very long. Let's go back upstairs to Desmond Shaw for an update now. Desmond.
It just seems like this car just almost like a rudderless ship kind of listing back and forth right now, barely able to get it up to 25, 30 miles an hour, really having difficulty keeping it on the right side of the road. You saw how many LAPD units are standing by all over the place in a lot of different areas because, the speeds are so low now that, they've been able to really kind of coordinate. And they see how this person has been in really the same Pico Union neighborhoods this entire time. And so they're, ready wherever this person decides if they want to try to get out and run. There are LAPD officers all over the place, and I am wondering if that's what what this person is thinking. If the 3 people inside are all talking, if they're all going to get up and split in different directions, if they're trying to formulate some kind of plan. To get away from the police and looking for a place that they might think is advantageous to ditch this car and get out and run. That's what I'm guessing they're talking about. I mean, you see how those other 3 people got out of the vehicle earlier, and one of them surrendered instantly. Why are these other 2 people not getting out of the vehicle and just leaving the driver to their fate? If that's who LAPD wants, just makes you wonder what their story is, why they're still involved with this at all. But here we go.
Going to jail
it's just lots of right turns around this neighborhood. Very kind of aimless, but just kind of stuck almost like a magnet to the Pico Union area.
Yeah, earlier we saw the back left tire, or the driver's side rear tire. You can see it really wobbling left and right. So definitely we know that those tires
people that surrendered, they know they're going down too.
That for us as well. The interesting part now is, again, still here in the Pico Union, South Alvarado Street, under these canopy of trees. This pursuit continues here at very slow rates of speed because 3 tires blown. It's very difficult to control the car, and obviously doesn't want to pick up that much speed. But as we were mentioning, what does this driver think is going to be the outcome here? Eventually, he is going to be brought into custody. And the big mystery is, are there 6 or 7 people, or were there 6 or 7 people in that car at one point? We already saw 3 of them bail out, right?
Yeah, we believe 3 more people are inside this car, including the driver. And, it's curious to see, how police will handle this when this all comes to an end. Obviously, it's going to be a very delicate situation because of the fact that we don't know how many of these individuals in this car right now are armed. If they are, we don't know if the ones who were armed, because this car full of people, they were considered armed and dangerous. So we don't know if the people who jumped out of the car already who were the ones who were armed, or the ones who are still inside occupying this car who are armed right now. So obviously, it's going to be a very delicate operation for police, right, Mike?
Right, and again, that's why they've had all these units. So the officers that are coordinating this are the officers from Southwest Division, which is actually south of the 10, but we're up in LAPD's Olympic Division. So you've got the force of the Southwest officers, that's the one that's right behind them, plus the Olympic officers. But we've really stayed in the same place the entire time. I think we can show my computer here really quickly, and I just want to show you the trail of the helicopter, and it really is just kind of up and down in the same place. It kind of makes you wonder. I mean, we've talked about all this time. Okay, so here you are.
There it is.
So all of these orange lines is the police helicopter. And so you can see we have not left this area the entire time. You can just see all of the circles back and forth. Even I'll show you SkyCal, kind of just doing the same thing here. So it always makes you wonder exactly what they're doing, what they're thinking about, and why we're staying in this same place. So it's something that we're going to keep an ear on. Again, Southwest units are the one chasing them, even though we're in Olympic division. They've told those Olympic officers that you stay out of the way, don't get involved in this. But it makes you wonder if they know this area, why they haven't tried to go anywhere else. I think you mentioned never gotten on the freeway, except for before they chased them. The whole pre-stop coordination was on the freeway. That was all in the 10 East. Des was out in almost the Cajon Pass checking on another pursuit for us when we heard this one on the 10 East at Lincoln, which as Des mentioned was all the way out almost near Santa Monica. So he remained all the way on the 10 until they initiated the pursuit near the 10 and the 110, and then has been exclusively on surface streets since they started the pursuit.
When you just showed us that map, Mike, was it 5 helicopters that are in the air? That's pretty impressive.
Oh, shit.
Well, yeah, so I see 2 police helicopters. The rest are us. The rest are the TV helicopters. But again, a lot of eyes on them.
Come on, man.
Sure, absolutely.
Come on, man. Don't film me now.
Area, as Mike was just referring to, the fact that this person could possibly live in this area, know this area well, so they're more comfortable perhaps driving on the surface streets here.
You gotta have somebody on standby with another
or
whip.
somewhere else they're not familiar with. But again, this could be a very dangerous situation, obviously not only because they're armed and dangerous, but because of the fact that the spike strip have taken out their tires, at least 3 of them as far as we know.
Right.
And
and I think I was just listening to them say that about the tires. Des, did you say that you saw them lose another tire?
One of the tires flew off, so this person is now down to some flat tires and a metal wheel down here. So it's going to be that much more difficult for this person to control, and you can really see the struggle, especially as they make some of these turns, having to take them really, really wide here. And it looks like one of the other tires are about to separate off of the wheel as well. And so you just wonder how much more this has got. And they were still out here with more spike strips. So we saw at least 2 or 3 more attempts by LAPD with their spike strips out there. Just because they spike the tires doesn't mean that they're backing off necessarily. This is definitely one of the more aggressive efforts that we've seen from LAPD in recent memory. Now we got the sparks flying all over the place there. So.
It's time to get your
just be so uncomfortable for this driver. I think they just probably in denial about their situation, like Mike was saying, just trying to
it's time to get that exercise on, boy. It's time to get that cardio on.
Especially because we've been in the same area the whole time, because this happens with so many pursuits that go like that. I'm really surprised this hasn't turned into more of a circus out here with a lot of people. We've seen a few people out here getting some videos for their Twitter and Instagram feeds, but I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more, because this person has been on the same streets now for almost the entirety of this pursuit. But how much another spike there, he was actually able to avoid that. Kind of amazing there without losing control of the vehicle, but many sparks coming out. This is crazy to see. I can't remember the last time I've seen a vehicle throw out this many sparks, but this is going to end. It's hard to imagine this is not going to end in a crash if they continue like this.
My goodness, and all that sparking. Desmond, we both covered the story of that box truck that was coming down the 5 freeway. Same situation, lost some tires, started sparking, and the whole truck went up in flames. So we have seen this before, and the more he drives, the more sparks this car is giving off. So it has to be so loud in that car too, right? To listen to this metal against the asphalt. Here we go, sparking again. He hits speed bumps in this neighborhood too. That moves the car around quite a bit. And again, no desire to stop. 20 miles an hour right now. So again, not going very fast, but my guess is at some point the car's just not going to want to go any farther, and it's going to come. This pursuit will come to an end. Again, look at those sparks.
Back left tire is starting to fall off too, right, Des?
Yeah, it looks like it. The back left. That was the first one that I noticed. Actually, that was flat. I'm surprised it's held on as long as it has. Yeah, I mean, we believe that there's only one good tire left, and there's not even rubber on at least one of those wheels, maybe 2 of them. They're on the passenger side, sparking all over the place.
Yeah.
So it just making making it look a little Mad Max out here as we're out on the Pico Union area. But once again, Alvarado and Olympic, some of the favorite streets of this suspect. How much more is this poor Honda Civic going to have to endure before the driver finally sees the writing on the wall?
Yeah, down another narrow, dark street. And, with sparks flying still, and as Juan was referring to, we have seen situations in pursuits where the sparks start flying and they're down to nothing, just a metal, and they keep on going. I mean, albeit slow, but still they keep on going. And we've seen them go for a while after that's happened.
That really is impressive. Look at that. It is definitely metal scraping up against the asphalt there. And the sparks, it's hard, I'm imagining it's got to be difficult not to know that even through the side view mirrors, you have to see what's going on.
Right, and you feel it. The vehicle's hard to control. He can't steer very well. He's been fishtailing, And again, it's just what's the plan here? He's not going to outlive the cops here. I mean, they've already changed out their airship. They've got a fresh tank of fuel, a new helicopter over this. Air 3 is taking over.
So, man, they tripping.
It's
oh shit!
Oh, so
wow!
Oh
another spike
shit!
strip. Yeah, I don't think that's why he was swerving there. I don't think he was able to avoid that one because there was a parked car. It was a pretty narrow street. So
he gonna have to run.
I don't know. He only supposedly had one decent tire left. It might be the front driver's side tire that's the only one still left intact. And we'll see if that one might have just been punctured by the spike strip as well.
Wow. Well, so far we've seen at least, we believe that I've been counting 7 to 8 attempts, and one, we believe, 2 successful. We believe 2 successful spike strips, and it looks like the car is certainly slowing down after that last one. Sparks are still flying, as you can see, but definitely going slower one.
And really we're coming to a stop here, and look how much this is sparking. Is it on fire, Des?
Smoking,
maybe. I mean, I think the Civic is waving the white flag on this one. So I think that the Civic has just said, "Please, please let me die." Let's see if this is going to be the end of this one. But let's remember that this person they believe to be armed and dangerous. So we'll just if this is the end. Let's see how the ending is going here. I'm going to attempt to double in. If it doesn't get too dark. No, not really helping too much as far as seeing.
Why are they cutting off the lights?
A little dark there. We can see the suspect though. Windows down. Definitely some words being exchanged between officers and the suspect near Alvarado and Olympic, pretty close to where we've been most of the time, within 3 or 4 blocks of this intersection. But still no movement here coming from the driver's side.
Now will this pursuit that is now coming to an end turn into a standoff, right? How long will this man in the car or woman in the car, whoever's behind the wheel, and possibly other passengers, how long will it take, right, before they come out of the car? So we're going to see what's happening. Oh, we see a hand there, Desmond. What do we see?
Yeah, one hand. Yeah. No, we're seeing some hand motions. It looked like maybe. Okay, you got 2 hands out here.
Okay.
So I think the driver is finally
surrendering.
Finally realizing that this is over. All the shenanigans here, and the
Jump
4th
out
of
and
July
start
fireworks show
booking
coming
it.
out of a Honda Civic. It looks
They
like
finna beat his
the
ass,
driver
too.
finally
Watch
giving
how they
up,
about to rush him.
and we will
Watch
see
this.
if there are any more people inside of this vehicle.
Yeah, their officers are going to be calling out their orders right now to all the occupants inside this vehicle over the loudspeaker, telling them to come out one by one, actually first put their hands out the window. And usually they're walking back towards the officers, but it looks like they've been instructed to walk a little ahead and get on their knees. I didn't see them lifting up their shirt to show their waistband, which is what they usually do to make sure. I mean, in this case especially, because if they're armed and dangerous, we don't know what they could possibly do, during that time. But it looks like the person is now on the ground, and they will be making that arrest shortly.
And we're also waiting to see whether or not more people come out of that car, because again, we have had reports that there may be more people still inside that car after 3 of them had bailed out earlier. But you can see right now the driver who was leading police on a pursuit being very compliant. When he came out of the car, looked like he was almost a little timid, raising his hands and being a little unsure of himself. But now face down on the asphalt. What do you see, Susie?
Looks like a second person is coming out from the passenger side.
With a hoodie,
The second person will be listening to the officer's orders, walking backwards right now. and walking towards the officers with their hands up and getting closer to the car there.
Which, you know, Susie, that's probably why they had that first person walk forward a little bit, because if the passengers were to come out on the same side, they don't want them close to each other.
So line them up
to give some room,
separately.
so they're not, you know, close to each other in case, God forbid, they hand something off or something like that.
And what's interesting, Mike, you were telling us earlier, this person we see here with the hands up, if they aren't the person wanted or the person who led police on a pursuit, they could possibly be going home tonight, no charges filed.
They
right?
could, yeah. I mean, it all depends
Depending.
on kind of what they tell the police, you know, and what the driver says and what crime this person was allegedly originally involved in, that they have anything to do with that. If they were an unwilling participant in this pursuit, that's the terms that LAPD uses. If they were an unwilling participant and they don't have any wants or warrants, then it's very possible that they will go home. And the driver is, you know, we've heard them say the driver is the primary suspect. That's the one they're after. So, you know, it sounds like the bigger fish that they're looking for here is the driver. So, again, if nothing, you know, if nothing is wanted on those passengers, they could let them go home.
Yeah. But could there be more people inside this car
say,
right now? We're still waiting for a third person if the information that we
Possibly.
have is correct. We believe there's one more person in this car. We were hearing all kinds of different things and numbers during the pursuit, but we believe there is a third person inside this car to add to the other 3 people who already jumped out during the course of this pursuit. 2 people jumping out at once at first, and then a third person jumping out. And we just couldn't believe how many people were actually coming out of this car.
Like Desmond was telling us earlier, this car could comfortably seat 5 people. So if we see a 6th person come out of this car, just unbelievable. And what were these 6 people doing together inside a stolen car? I'm also watching the officers there on the right side of your screen, trying to see, you know, how they're behaving and just how things are flushing out right now, because it looks like they may be still, it looks like an officer there. Oh, there they go. Let's see. We have a team of officers approaching the car with weapons drawn.
So this could be the fact that they are clearing the car right now. They're going in to clear the car, which could mean that there are no more passengers inside this car. If they have yelled their orders for the last person to get out and no one else is getting out, that's what they usually do. They go up to the car and you know, make sure that there's no one else in there, first of all, and then they clear it. So it looks like that's what they're doing right now. I don't know if they're talking to someone in there or just looking into the vehicle.
And once they clear it, my guess is they'll then attend to the 2 suspects, I'll call them suspects, on the ground there that have already exited the car, a car that was disabled by several spike strips. Mike, I see.
Yeah, the officers just waved 4 fingers to the airship. That's a signal for code 4. It means the vehicle's clear. So you have an arrest team. So the luxury of what these officers have right now with so many officers being here is they've got a team that will clear and search the vehicle. They've got an arrest team that they've also formed. So now we're seeing those officers move up and take those 2 people into custody now that the vehicle's been cleared.
So definitely we know 6 people in the car, right? Total. No, 5, right?
That, I
1, 2,
believe
3, 4,
I
5.
lose count, to be honest.
5 people
exactly, 5 people.
total, and we get the code 4, which is good news.
Thank goodness.
Everything under control there in the Pico Union.
Oh, they've already got the crime tape up, and I did hear those, you know, detectives I was telling you about earlier are back
how
there in
they
the
do
rear.
the
So
drive.
they're here. They're waiting to get their, you know, their hands
Oh,
on this guy that
they
they've
on
been
his
wanting the whole
ass. He
time.
definitely called
Several
everything
different
to
images
the
that
back.
we're talking about tonight, too, after this other people were dropped off at different locations. So
I hope we follow this up tomorrow. I'm very curious, Mike, about this Code 6 Charles felony warrant.
I'll be all over it, I promise.
All right. Tune in
right.
tomorrow. Mike Rogers will have the update for
and
us.
thank you to Desmond Shaw in SkyCal for those updates. All right, we're going to change gears now. Meteorologist Markina Brown standing by with a final check of our weather. Hi, Markina.
Hey there, I want to let you guys.